Welcome to my course where I teach you how to draw in bite-sized lessons. This is lesson number 4. If you want to get to lesson number 1, I'll leave a card up over here for you. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how we draw with graphite dust. Drawing with pencils isn't always the best way to draw, and that's where the graphite dust comes in. So we'll start off. I'll show you how the difference between using graphite dust and a pencil for certain things. Here you can see how I've filled in the background using pencils, and no matter how much you color in, you're always going to get some kind of texture still showing. Even in this one over here, where I've really tried to cover the background as much as I can, you can still see a lot of texture showing. But if you use graphite dust, then you can get perfect backgrounds. Smooth and as good as black. And you'll also find that you have a lot less graphite shine. When you've been scratching with your pencil, you get lots of graphite shine. But when you're using the graphite dust like this, the graphite shine is virtually non-existent. And using the graphite dust allows you to get large areas drawn in really quickly. Here I have an A3 size drawing, which took me literally 3 or 4 minutes to fill in that whole background. Graphite dust was also used to get the basics in for most of these shadings. Here's another example where the graphite dust has been used to get the shadings. And then you can also get lots of different texture effects as well. This whole background over here was done with graphite dust, and you can see, look at the beautiful textures I managed to get over there. It does fabulous bokeh backgrounds. And over here, I used the graphite dust to get this effect on the porcupine quills. So let's go and take a look at the dust itself and how do we make the dust. There are several ways to make the dust. The first one is to use a pencil. And just hold it in your hand like this and scratch over the entire piece of paper in all sorts of directions. Just overlap your strokes. I'm not pressing hard, but I'm just going in a nice constant overlapping fashion until this whole page is full and it looks like this. So now what's happened is this paper here is full of graphite dust. So what I then do is I use a cloth. So this is just a piece of t-shirting material. So you can take this and you can pick up some of that graphite dust, and now it's sitting on your cloth, and then you can use it to draw with. When you need some more, you just pick up some more graphite dust. Now this method here gives you nice light tonal values. And you can see if I just continue shading, I can get almost just off-white shadings using this, but I can't go very dark. Then of course, to get different shadings over here, you can also use different pencils. You can use a 6B, or if you want something super light, you can use maybe a HB or a 2H. So that's the one way of getting graphite dust and working with it. The next way is having physically more graphite dust, and you can do that in several ways. The first way is when you sharpen your pencils and you're busy shaving off the graphite to shape the pencil, you're automatically creating dust. So you can take this dust and you can save it. Get yourself a little bottle like this. This is just an old pill bottle, and you can throw all your shavings in there. Another way of doing it is you can buy yourself a graphite stick. So these stick pencils come in all sorts of different shades, 2H, HB, B, all the way up to say 6Bs and 9Bs. So that gives you all sorts of different tonal values of graphite dust, and you can just keep each different one in a different container. So if you want to do light shadings, you can use the lighter ones. If you want to do dark shadings, you use the darker ones. And all you do is just take a piece of sandpaper and just sand it down. You see how quickly you get tons of dust. And if you want to get yourself lots of graphite dust, then you can buy the graphite crayons. So these guys come in the Bs generally. 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B. And you can just take this guy and grind him down. And that also gives you plenty of graphite dust. So when you've got the amount of graphite dust you want, you can just take your piece of paper that you've shaved everything onto, put a little kink right there, and that forms a bit of a funnel. And now that graphite dust will run down into that little kink area. And you can get all of your dust into your container without any mess. Then of course you can buy graphite dust. You can buy them in little containers, little glass jars. What I've got was I bought a big one like this, and this you can get at most hardware stores. The locksmiths use this to lubricate locks, and all it is graphite dust. And this here, I think it cost $30 or so, but I tell you what, it'll last me for the rest of my life. I can draw the most ginormous drawings, and I'm not going to use this thing up anytime soon. So you buy one of those, it'll be an investment for the rest of your life. You'll never have to replace it. Alright, so how do we work with the graphite dust? So let's put some graphite dust down over there. So to use the graphite dust, you can use your cloth as well. What I'll tend to do with the graphite dust though is I'll put my finger inside the cloth, because just dipping into it like this is not particularly accurate and pretty messy. So I'll put my finger into it and I can dip into there. And I can do my shadings with it. And I think you can instantly see we're a lot darker than what we were when we were scratching onto the paper. And if you just keep going over it, it'll become smoother and smoother. Until you get yourself a very smooth shading. But I'll leave it at that for now, because I want to show you other methods. The other methods you can use to shade with graphite dust is by using makeup sponges. So these are just soft sponges that are used for makeup. So you dip your sponge into there. And what's nice about these, because you've got all these different shapes and stuff, I can go reasonably fine with that. Or if I just press a little bit harder, I can go thicker. Or if I use the back of it, I can get some really large areas, and it's the back of it that I use to fill in large areas really, really quickly. I mean, look at that. Just imagine trying to fill in this, dark as that, using pencils. There's no way you're going to get it as smooth as that, and as quick as that. So you do get your makeup sponges in different shapes and sizes. This one is quite nice because he's got that little dent there, which it makes it often easier to hold. It just doesn't have quite as sharp a point as the other one. And then you can also just instantly, you can work fine, turn him around, work rough. And if you want to work even finer, you can buy these little makeup sponges used for putting on eyeshadow. You get them like that, or you get the one with a longer handle as well. So these ones with the longer handle are quite nice because this plugs out and you can get replacements for it. So you work it the same, and this is for doing just finer shadings in smaller areas. And that's how I use the graphite dust to draw with. So often when you are drawing with a graphite dust, you'll find that there's little dust particles left over from when you've done drawing, but there's still graphite left over. And you don't want that lying on your drawing because it's going to smudge. So what you are going to need if you're using the graphite dust is one of these. It's just a really soft mop brush. And you can also get this in the art store, but you can also find this at the makeup department at the dollar store as well. And you can just use this to just gently flick away. I'm not even touching the paper. It's just creating a wind, and it's just flicking away any excess dust that I don't want on my drawing, and that way I don't get any smudges. So let's do a recap of the equipment you're going to need for drawing with graphite dust. The first one is you're going to need scrap piece of paper which you can scratch your graphite onto using your pencils. To make graphite dust, you can use sandpaper, graphite sticks and crayons, or you can simply buy your graphite dust. To draw using the graphite dust, you're going to need a piece of old t-shirting material, makeup sponges and brushes, and then to clean up the graphite dust, you need a very soft mop brush. Now I want us to look at the other equipment we need for pencil drawing, so I'm going to leave a link for that over here and in the description of the class. Then of course, don't forget to like and subscribe so that I can inform you when I add new lessons to the course. And if you want to go and take a look at my drawing and painting classes on my website, I've left a link for you on the screen. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next class.